Manufacturers Midway here at the Four-Wheel and Off-Road Jamboree Spring Nationals in Memphis, Tennessee.
Gary, right now we're going to have an opportunity to see the old and the new. The old will be represented by Steve Hess. He'll be going against Jack Willman. Willman in the right lane. New suspension, the softer suspension. Now, Hess is a real strong truck in the far lane, but it's an older style truck. You should be able to see on this run the difference in the suspension. Should be softer on the right side, bouncy on the left side. Let's see what happens.
Well, Willman cut a good light, had the big advantage from the very start, but look at that old truck bounce.
Yeah, the stiff suspension is just not the way to go. They say they want to build them now to where they act like a sponge. They actually absorb the impact.
Well, watch from this camera angle the suspension work in the newer truck on the near lane.
See, Hess is bounced in the background already. Meanwhile, Taurus, he's already gone to the final jump.
So young Jack Willman will advance. He finds someone he knows up in the crowd, and he'll advance on to round 2 competition. Here's a good look at John Moore and No Problem out of Lafayette, Tennessee.
In the previous run, we were talking about the chassis differences. That Scott Stevens will be lining up in the other lane against Moore. The difference here is the length of the truck, okay? Stevens in the far lane, as he's being checked over by his crew chief, is a longer truck. That should be to his advantage. No Problem, lane closest to us, shorter wheelbase, a quicker truck, if you will. Yeah,
right there, Stevens has the advantage, but goes almost out of bounds on one side. Now he almost goes out of bounds on the left side. He was all over that lane.
He's still trying to shut out. Okay, he gets her shut off, okay.
But watch again. First arm, he's off to his right. Now he comes over the second jump, and he heads to his left.
They're just launching in all kind of different ways today here in Memphis. But the longer truck is definitely the way to go. Now, speaking of launching, a driver that gets psyched up, you're looking at him, Steve Wilke.
Steve Wilke in the Chevrolet USA 1, and he goes against the Ford. Bigfoot with Andy Brass. Round 1 competition, and it won't get any better than this shootout right here.
For years, everybody's had a favorite. If you like Chevrolet, you pull for the white truck. If you like Ford, you pull for the blue truck. This race could be worth the price of admission. Everything's going to go down right now. What happened? Brass drills him on the line. Wilke's going to pull back. Brass is not going to let him.
There is nobody off the line any better than Andy Brass. He cuts the best line of anybody here this weekend.
It's amazing how quick that 13,000-pound truck reacts to that young man.
Look again. The competition is over right there as they go over that first set of cars.
He lands after the first jump. The truck settles. It goes straight, and he drives it literally out the back door, Gary.
Everybody's scratching their head, including Fred Schaefer there. Let's talk to Andy Brass.
Andy, you're going to be going against Scott Stevens next round.
Yeah, it is. Now, I'm kind of watching Scott run a little bit. I see he took the other lane. We're taking the left lane here today. I see some guys having some problems over here, so we figured, well, we're going to try because it's going to be a lane that everybody ends up in. And I think I might just go ahead and throw Scott in the right. The right lane does look a little worse than the left, so we're just going to kind of play it easy and throw a little lane change today on these guys.
All right, let's get ready now for round 2 competition here at the Memphis Motorsports Park. It will be Barefoot taking on Nightlife in round 2. Also in round 2, the Carolina Crusher, if he can continue, against Taurus. And we'll have King Krunch, as just mentioned, against Andy Brass in Bigfoot.
Well, Gary, the quick winner this round automatically goes into the final. It'll be important.
Well, they're taping up the Carolina Crusher, so hopefully Gary Porter will be able to continue here in Memphis, Tennessee, as a number of crew members from other trucks are also helping out. And Gary is hard at work. A lot of glory in driving, not a lot of glory in working on them. As we take a look at Fred Schaefer in Barefoot out of Pontoon Beach, Illinois. Barefoot against Nightlife. There is Wayne Smozanic.
He's out of Jupiter, Florida. He's a new driver to the sport. Wayne's doing an awfully good job. But I want you to notice the front window right now. The camera shows it to you on Barefoot. He's hitting so hard he actually popped the window out.
And Schaefer has a problem.
Hey, Gary, Wayne wins. Wayne wins.
The newcomer will go on to the semifinals. 8.17 the time to beat now, because somebody will get a bye to the finals.
Gary, that's an upset of all upsets in the sport. This guy had quick qualifying time of the day, had the field covered, but he's going on a trailer.
Well, the newcomer, Wayne, continues on into our semifinals. Why don't you run down and get a word with Fred, find out what the problem was.
Word we got is you were down a cylinder when you went to the starting line.
As far as I know, there's nothing wrong with the truck. It's a kill box. You know, it's new, and they had to have them for this race. They've been having problems with them, and the kill box looks like it put me out.
Okay, because the engine, I was standing half track. It was just a clean cut, like you turned the ignition off.
That's exactly what happened to it. And They ain't going to do anything about it. It's my way of losing a race, I guess.
You don't have any recourse at all?
Well, they said I was out. I mean, what are you supposed to do? I come out here and I get fast time 2 days in a row, and this is what happens to me, so that's all I can do.
So a frustrated Fred Schaefer becomes a spectator, but this man, Wayne Smozanik, will continue on in competition. Another truck that they hope to see in competition is the Carolina Crusher, and there's Gary Porter in that bright yellow hat working under the race truck. And here is Scott Stevens in the Auto Value King Krunch. His competition will be Andy Brass in Bigfoot 8.
Well, Gary, as we've traveled all over the country, anybody that follows this sport knows these guys have gone tooth and nail after each other. Well, what's more appropriate in Memphis than, as we've said it before, the Battle of the Blues? Who's going to win it, Ford or Chevrolet?
Well, it looks like Andy Brass in the Ford right now has the measure, and he'll take the victory. Oh, that is a combination of equipment and driver.
Yeah, there was a rhythm set up there. Andy Brass has just got a seat of the pants feel for driving that monster truck.
The time right there is 7.57. 7.57. That will be the quickest time thus far.
Hey, but look who's coming back in, Gary. The Carolina Crusher, yeah.
And listen to the fans. They love it. They can certainly appreciate the work that was done to get that one back in competition. On the replay, look at Scott Stevens. He was in trouble before he ever got to that first jump. And the measure of victory going to Andy Brass in Bigfoot. But watch as we continue on. Scott Stevens almost runs out of runoff space. The shutdown area almost not long enough. He almost collects that guardrail. Let's go down and talk to Andy Brass.
Let me ask you a real quick question. What do you think about this Chevrolet Barefoot not getting past this route? He's upset. Says there's a malfunctioning electrical system. No problem to him whatsoever. He's ready to go racing, but there's a problem somewhere.
Yeah, he is. You know, a lot of the guys are all ready and they're hyped to go racing and stuff. Fred runs one of the newer Linko transmissions, you know, and to me that's what it looked like having me come off the line. These Linko just went into neutral. If it would have been an electrical problem, I think his truck would have died and still stayed running.